Okay, let's see how this is if I go a little... Whoa! Those turbo noises. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing an Alfa Romeo 4C. First and foremost, so a huge shout out thank you to the Alfa Romeo here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this 4C. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below. This one is available for sale right now if you're interested. Super rare car. It's awesome to be able to actually see one. On a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below as well. Let's get into the video. So in a normal car review, I usually do a clip of me like popping the hood latch and then going under the hood, but this is mid-engine, so that'll happen a little bit later in today's video. First off, let's go over the front end styling. So I love this car finished in white. It looks just fantastic. The body lines on this car pop so much. Typically white paint hides body lines, but the 4C has like such aggressive body lines that they still pop out quite a bit. I also love the headlight design here on the 4C. You've got the carbon fiber inlay inside of the headlight, which just looks so fantastic. And then notice with the Alfa Romeo logo with the signature Alfa Romeo front grille, and then you can see here off to the side as well. And it's just such a beautiful looking car from a front end perspective. It's really low, really wide as well, and just like the 8C, it kind of has that signature look from a front end perspective that, yeah, it's just so iconic. Coming around the side here, we've got two 15mm tires wrapped around 18-inch wheels in the front, and then two 45mm tires wrapped around 19-inch wheels in the back, so we have a fully staggered setup. I've always been a huge fan of the wheel design on Alfa Romeos with the circles. It's just super unique. You've got the red brake caliper, and you know, you don't need massive brakes on this because this car is so lightweight. I'll show you guys the sticker on the door jamb a little bit later in the video. And I'll have a little like turn signal indicator there on the side. Carbon fiber on the mirrors as well, which looks really cool. I like how the pillars are black because it kind of makes the roof look like it's slightly floating. And then obviously we got our air intakes here on the side, which again just looks so cool and aggressive. Carbon fiber accenting down below as well. And here's your full side view, and just to give you guys kind of like a size comparison, here's, well, a Discovery, right, which is a small Range Rover, and then here's the 4C. It is just tiny. It is crazy, but I love it. And look at like all the body lines and everything. Everything's so sharp on the side. It really does look like an exotic car. Now here's our key fob for the 4C, and you guys might recognize this key fob if you've seen my Ram ProMaster reviews. Yes, it is in fact the same key fob, but we have the Alfa Romeo logo, the unlock and lock function, and you know, overall I think it's cool. Anyways, let's go over the rear styling and then we will talk about the powertrain. So first off, you guys can see here with the glass that lets you see the engine just like a Lamborghini, just like a Ferrari. You can see the venting here on either side as well, and then here down below. And then I love the taillights here, again, similar to Ferraris, right? Because they're circular taillights. And then notice with the parking sensors here at the back and the exhaust tips. And this exhaust actually sounds really good for a four-cylinder. You can see the diffuser here at the very bottom with all the venting. And again, just stylistically, it's so beautiful. This has to be like one of the best looking cars ever made. And that's the thing that I love about the Alfa Romeo brand is they make such beautiful vehicles. So under the hood, we have a turbocharged 1.7 liter four-cylinder that goes through a 6-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. It's good for 237 horsepower and then 258 pound-feet of torque. And like I said, this is a mid-engined car. I love how it says Alfa Romeo 4C there. And yeah, you guys can see it kind of like stuffed under the whatever you want to, I guess you can call this the hood since it's mid-engine. Just so cool. And there's some carbon fiber you can see kind of inside of there as well. Definitely a cool setup. Almost forgot to mention, you guys can see the storage space here in the rear, and you even have like an emergency release latch because they, well, I guess this is big enough that they assume that you could fit someone in here technically. But yeah, just like, you know, other mid-engine sports cars like the Lotus Evora, for example, you got storage space behind the engine, and also like the new C8 Corvette as well. Now popping here to the front, notice we have these beautiful frameless windows, and the door panel is actually really nice from a material standpoint. You can see the stitching that goes across, and it, you know, has a similar smell actually and appearance to like a door panel in like a Lamborghini, for example. So it has, you know, that normal Italian appearance, and I like the little grab handle to pull the door closed. Normal handle though to open it up. And then here are these seats, beautiful red leather seats with the Alfa logo here. And you guys can see the bolstering on it's really aggressive. And now you guys can see the carbon fiber tub. So this car does have a carbon fiber tub you can see all throughout. That's another cool thing about the 4C. Obviously makes it super lightweight. Look at the pedal box down below too as well. And we got our stickers right here so you guys can see for the tire pressure. So we can see that we've got a payload of 344 pounds, which is kind of crazy. So that means that you don't want to weigh too much if you drive this car, I suppose. But in terms of actual like weight on the car, it's about like 2,300 pounds roughly. Super lightweight, just like a Mazda Miata, just like a Lotus Elise. But let's pop in. Crank it. I didn't have my foot on the brake. I'm an idiot. Okay. You gotta have your foot on the brake. So here is the steering wheel in the 4C. I love how you've got some like Alcantara here at the top and then leather here on the sides. And it's kind of like perforated here so you get a slightly better grip. Paddle shifters for that dual clutch automatic. And then look at the red stitching. Super cool looking steering wheel. No power steering, like you have to muscle it to turn the steering wheel, which obviously is not great for parking lots and all that, but it should make the driving dynamics super exciting. And then notice there, we've got a regular stocks. I normally turn the steering wheel quite a bit, but again, no power steering, so it's kind of heavy, but I love the look of it. Now here's the gauge cluster for the 4C, and you guys can see this one has 30,000 miles on it, roughly, which shows that these cars are actually really reliable. I've seen quite a few of these for sale online with pretty high mileage. So this is a car that you can actually put miles on, unlike a lot of exotic cars. And notice the carbon fiber on the gauge cluster. Anyways, what I want to talk about is the digital gauge cluster. It actually looks really cool to this day. I thought that it might look outdated, but it doesn't. We do have some different drive modes. Right now we're in the N mode, which is like your natural. And then you have your all-weather mode, which we can go into. And then we have our, we have to hold it down for a second. Natural mode's on now. Then we have our dynamic, which is like our sport mode. And then if we hold down with dynamic for a while, it should pop us into race mode. There we go. If hold down for quite a bit, pops into race mode, turns off all of the traction control and everything, and lets you have quite a bit of fun with the car. And it kind of changes how the gauge cluster looks as well. But yeah, I love the setup. Now, other cool stuff. Notice here with the stitching, and you know, a lot of people said the interior in the Alfa Romeo 4C was cheap. I don't think that, because like, look at all the stitching everywhere. Like, it looks really nice if you ask me. Now, we do have a pretty old school looking radio, so there's that. I love this for the door lock and unlock, and then like the AC. Single zone climate, you don't need dual zone. I mean, this is a tiny car. And then this is the stuff for the transmission selection. So to park the car, you put it in neutral, and then you pull the parking brake up. Now, if you want to start moving, put the parking brake down with your foot on the brake, and then you can press 1 to go forward, and then you can press R to go to reverse, and then if your automatic versus manual is that function right there. And then also our mirror adjustments in the center here, window controls here in the center as well. Your drive mode, select, and then super beefy with this. And then I guess this is supposed to be a cup holder, and then another big one. And then you guys can see here, we've got this little like storage pocket area, just like a Mazda Miata. And there we go, click that right in. I don't think this has a glove box if I remember right. Yeah, I don't see anything down here. Probably make myself look stupid. I love that too. Such a race car. This is so cool. And then finishing things up top again, this is not the Spider, so you can't take off the top as the coupe. I like how this looks more than the Spider. Headroom's actually pretty good. I fit in here very well, and there's a manual mirror dimmer. Also, look at that, you can see the engine. This is such a unique car. Now that we're done looking at the interior here, if you want the most up-to-date pricing on this 4C, check out the Alfa Romeo in Salt Lake's website in the description down below. Let's see how it drives. Oh, very hard to get into. Okay, well, I'm probably gonna get crucified for that whole startup thing. I guess I like locked the wheel or something. I must have like accidentally bumped it with my knee after I shut it off. I don't know. Anyways, visibility over the hood is really good. Through the mirrors, it's actually really solid as well. Obviously through the rear, not great. And yeah, well, let's set off. The reason I am setting off here in the parking lot is because I want to show you guys kind of without power steering. Like it's pretty crazy. When you're actually up and moving a little bit though, it's not too bad. It is heavy, but it's not too bad. It's just when you're completely stopped that it is just super difficult. Now we do have quite a bit of a ramp here. And again, we want to go slow, but then it makes the steering really heavy because we're going slow. Oh, we actually, nobody can come down the street. So that's great. That helps out quite a bit. This sounds so cool. I'm gonna pop it straight into dynamic mode. We are not playing any games here. Dynamic. Okay, wait, I have to hold it down for a second. There we go. This is such a race car. It is harsh, that is for sure. The automatic mode's pretty interesting. I'm just gonna pop into manual and shift myself. Ooh. Oh, tons of turbo noise as well. Transmission's super responsive, actually. I've seen, you know, some reviews of this and people don't necessarily say the nicest things about the transmission. It is, you know, it's a dual clutch, and so at low speeds it does dual clutch stuff. But once you're up and moving, it's great. Now this car is more like a manual, so you kind of like, even though it is ultimately an automatic, you drive it more like a manual. So like coming to a stop, right? You don't want to be like moving super quick and then go into first gear. You want to kind of like slow down and, you know, pretty much be stopped and then go into first gear just like a manual. And it has that like, when you go from reverse to drive, it still like rolls back just like a manual, like it's engaged, you know, engage the clutch and everything. It's super interesting, super interesting. Whoa, wow, I was not expecting that at all. I actually have to adjust my mirror so I can see something. It's quick. Now we're gonna pop it into race mode, because apparently it makes it a little bit louder in the race mode. Okay, we're in race mode now. Brakes are really solid too. This car is so interesting. Like, I mean, this is a modern car in the sense of like, they just, you know, they, what, 2015 to 2018 was the model year run for this or something like that. So it's not like this is like, was built that long ago, but this feels so analog. I love it. Now these bumpy roads are probably not the best for the 4C. Oh, this person's trying to get through here. Ooh, look at this. Mercedes, don't curb your massive 22-inch wheels. Ouch. Yeah, these bumpy roads are not great in the 4C, but it's not as uncomfortable as I thought. You know, honestly, if I wasn't married, I would probably daily drive one of these. Right? If I didn't have to take people around, I would daily drive one of these. Like, it is such a blast. Okay, let's see how this is if I go a little... Whoa. Those turbo noises. Like, listen to the turbo noise again. For a 4-cylinder, this is such a cool sound. This is an experience. This is an experience, that is for sure. There's nothing on the market today that really feels like this. Everything else is so much more luxurious and, you know, power steering and all that. This is so fun. Here's what I have to say is, like, you know, for most people this probably would be like a second car, but look at the brakes. But if you're like you know, if you're single, I think this would be such a cool, just like daily driver. It is so quick. This would be such a fun daily driver to have, right? I mean, as long as you live in a place like California or something where, you know, it doesn't snow. This is so cool. The steering feels amazing. Everything that everyone said about this car from like a driving dynamic perspective, it's true. This thing's a little, it's a little supercar, it really is. My goodness. Wow. Thank you, Alfa Romeo Salt Lake, for trusting me with this thing. Because again, these are super rare. They didn't make that many of them, and they're discontinued. Wow. Wow. So yeah, if you basically want just like you can't get this experience today with a brand new car. And I mean, this has 30,000 miles, everything works, air conditioning works, like all the stuff that you might think would not work in, you know, like basically a supercar at 30,000 miles, it all works in this. And I mean, you know, average miles per gallon 14.3 is what this is showing. I'm sure that's with some fun driving. I'm sure if you were more, you know, economical with the throttle and everything, then you could get pretty good gas mileage in this. But this thing's special. Man, I am so sad that I cannot buy this car. That's all I gotta say. That's all. Now let's get some things up for our video on this Alfa Romeo 4C. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Alfa Romeo here in Salt Lake for giving me some time with this 4C. Again, I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below. I'll see all of you in that next video.